What's up, Blade fam? Today we're going to be doing 3 mistakes that beginners make. What are those mistakes? Well, stay tuned and we're going to figure it out. Okay guys, mistake number 1. I have been guilty of this mistake, especially in my first years, and it is stepping up our grinds. What does it mean to be stepping up our grinds? What that means is, say you're doing a sole grind and you lock the Machio and then bring the fast slide in. That is a 1-2 motion. And that is a technical step up. Or definitely if you're rolling next to the obstacle and you step on and then bring the other foot. Anytime you're doing a 1-2 motion in a 2-footed grind, you can pretty much count it as a step up into the grind. Okay, when it comes to doing step-ups into grinds, it's one of those really tedious things that once you start to understand what it means and what you're doing wrong, then you can improve it, right? It deters people from learning grinds because then somebody's sitting there saying you're doing it wrong. You're not doing it wrong. You're doing it as a beginner and you're learning. And if you're ready for the next step, it's hitting both feet at the same time. What you can do to improve your ability to do this is, as you're approaching a ledge or a rail, is knowing how to pop above your obstacle and on the edge. So if you have the forward momentum and this motion as you're coming in, you're on the edge, and both feet hit at the same time, it'll not only improve the duration of your slides, but it'll change the way it looks. If you look at this one, this is clearly a step up versus this one. You can see it's a very tedious thing, but it does make a difference, especially when you start getting on higher obstacles. When you step up on something that is, waist high or rib high, it gets really sketchy because you're having 2 points of balance instead of 1. Okay, so mistake number 2, coming out on the wrong side of a rail. What that means is, say you approach a rail and it is on your left side, you jump up and you do a top sole, but you come out on the left side of the rail instead of the right side of the rail. That would be mistake number 2. So what does that mean? You came out on the wrong side of the rail. It's not like a solid set thing, it's very obvious in like topside grinds. When you start getting into technical like 360s into grinds, I think it kind of starts becoming like, yo, you just did the 360 into the grind. Who cares what side you came out on? But if you look at skaters like Alex Broskow, David Sizemore, Richie Eisler, some of the best that have ever done it, despite that they throw a 3 into that grind, they still come out on the same side that they went in. So that's what that means. That means if you're approaching the obstacle and you are on the right side of the obstacle and you jump up and come out on that side, it's the wrong side. You started on the right and you ended on the left. So when you're doing this properly, you start on the right, you end on the right. Or you start on the left and you end on the left. Now there is a specific place where going far side is totally cool. Again, when you're throwing big tricks or you are skating an obstacle that is blocked. So if I had a wall or a ledge at the end of this rail on the right side, and I was able to jump up, go top side, and drift to the far side and go out on the other side, that becomes something a little else. That's, again, on the advanced or intermediate skating. Holy smokes, I just roasted Baby Blades.
I almost died.
but what happens if you land in the middle? Hey man, it counts! And the last mistake. Mistake number 3. Uneven weight distribution. That kind of goes along with stepping up grinds, specifically talking about royales and backside royales or farfanugans. Anytime that you're doing a boot grind and you have too much weight on the back or the front foot, that will choke up the grind and put you on your backside. Mistake number 3. I did that totally on purpose. That's really hard to do. Take one for the team. You know, it's another thing, like when you've learned a trick and then you try to go back to doing it improperly, it's kind of hard to do. What's up, man?
Wide angle, wide angle.
This side? I'm gonna step up the front side right here, man. And on this one, you can see that it's a very subtle thing. You can notice it mostly on down obstacles, or if the person is grinding really fast and at the end, because they're putting so much emphasis on the back leg, they'll slip out. So it puts you in kind of a dangerous place if you're leaning too far back and have your weight distributed unevenly. A lot of times if I'm doing a down rail, I'll put more emphasis on the lead foot than the back foot, so that way I'm going down with it. If I'm leaning down a down rail and I'm leaning back, well, I'm gonna kind of perform like a wheelie and lose the grind and fall. Again, these things are all very subtle, but when you perform these things properly, it makes a huge difference in the way your skating looks. That's what we're after. Smooth style, confidence. It also shows confidence, you know, when you jump above your obstacle with both your feet, it shows that you're confident and that you spent the time learning how to do the trick right, whatever that means. All right guys, thanks for tuning in and checking out our YouTube video. Really had fun doing this. Again, these are kind of like tedious things, you know, take it with a grain of salt, but maybe put a little more emphasis in these aspects if you are growing and, you know, just starting out aggressive inline skating. There is nothing wrong with learning how to step up into a grind if you are just getting associated with it. But if you've got a couple months in and you're doing all sorts of different obstacles and still practicing the step up, it could be, you know, somewhat of a bad habit. I myself had that bad habit, and it took me a whole summer to kick. And every now and then, when I'm sketched out, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna step up. So there is a place for it. Mistake number 2, just being on the right side of the obstacle that you jumped on, is just gonna give you a more polished look. If that's something that you want. If it's like, hey, I just wanna jump up topside, ride the end of the obstacle and have a good time, go do that. And the last tip on the weight distribution. Weight distribution is huge. You know, I've got a lot of requests on doing switch-ups and the techniques of doing switch-ups, and a lot of it comes from understanding the weight and where you're at on your obstacle, and understanding that if you are leaning too far back on specifically royale tricks, because of that weight distribution being uneven, you're gonna be prone to falling over. And so I hope this tip of making sure you are evenly distributing your weight, or even a little bit more on one foot than the other, will help you stay safe on bigger and more technical obstacles. Just so everybody knows, our next video that we're going to be working on is something that I find the most attractive in inline skating. What is that? Style, baby. If you like this channel and you would love to support rollerblading, hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. We appreciate your guys' support. Till next time, keep the blade alive. Aloha.